I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Palmer, the Executive Director of the Travel and Tourism Research Association. Welcome to today's webinar, presenting the next big thing, Simpleview's data engine, and it's presented by our TTRA partner, Simpleview. TTRA unites university academics, practitioners, and research experts, the best and the brightest from the travel and tourism research community. If you're not a member, I encourage you to join us. Recent graduates will get their first year free, and you can learn more at ttra.com. Be sure to follow us on social media and visit the TTRA website for information about upcoming webinars and conferences. Before we introduce today's guest speaker, I want to remind everyone we're using the Zoom webinar platform, so please drop your questions into the Q&A and we'll try to get to as many as possible at the end of the session. I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Paul McLeod. Paul is Simpleview's Director of Analytics, focusing on business intelligence and data insights. He and his team analyze traffic patterns on client websites and provide insight and recommendations on planner and consumer activity recorded in client CRM systems. Paul earned a double degree in economics and English writing from the University of Oklahoma and holds a master in business administration from the University of Arizona. He joined Simpleview in 2011 as an SEO specialist, and the furthest Paul's ever traveled from home is Norway. And Paul, if you'd like to introduce Austin.
Yeah, thanks for that. Really appreciate that, Kathy. Yeah, also with me, sort of a late addition, so he's the bio didn't get out there, is Austin Strobel, who is our product manager for the Simpleview data engine, i.e. the guy who's really driving the development of this thing on a day-to-day basis, figuring out what needs to happen for it to reach its strategic goals and help our clients do what it needs to do. So Austin, I know you came from the SEO side of the house with us, like I did. You were an SEO analyst for not too long, but some period of time. I remember working with you over there, and I know nothing else about your bio. So can you just introduce yourself really quick, please?
Yeah, just a quick bio. I got my bachelor's degree from, there we go. There's some sort of a bio right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got my bachelor's degree from Northern Arizona. And I also have an MBA in project management from
really?
From Barcelona Executive Business School.
That is so much cooler than the University of Arizona.
So yeah, I guess since you had a fun fact, I did live in Spain for a couple of years, which is kind of ties in the Barcelona aspect of the degree.
Yeah, but that's a good life choice you made.
Yeah, it was good, but happy to be back in Arizona and working on this new product. So like you said, I'm the data product manager over here. Really focusing on, the data warehouse side of things, and as we'll get to eventually by the end, spearheading the beta program. But before we get to all that, we would love to just introduce this product to you all.
Yeah, this is a product that we're all excited about. We sort of presented on it for the first time, I think, at Summit this year, and we're just continuing to build momentum for the upcoming beta. So we're going to get into what this thing is. We call it the Simpleview data engine. We're going to get a live look at it first, or in a little bit. But in the meantime, just wanted to start with some background. I mean, look, this is TTRA. I don't think I need to explain data to everybody, but just to lay the groundwork for the specific bullet points we're trying to address with this product. I'll go through some of the things that we all contend with as research practitioners, particularly those of us working with large data sets. So anyway, what problems could we solve? That was really, we have here at Simpleview, we build lots of software for the tourism industry. I actually find that at TTRA, people are maybe a little bit less familiar with us than some of the other industry associations and conferences and so forth. So yeah, we focus on the CRM side. I think that's how most people here would know us. We don't focus on that. Sorry. We are founded to a significant degree on the CRM side. And where we have built, I think a really successful CRM for DMOs and, are working on the newest version of that. But anyway, so lots of people have their sales, their partner, their consumer communications, email lists, all that data stored in CRM. We have access to a lot of that. We work with that data all the time. We design a lot of the databases. So it made sense for us to build a really modern data engine, that's what we're calling it, to allow people to get the most to get the most out of that data, to really make use of it in running their business, strategizing their initiatives, et cetera, et cetera. We also, if you're not aware, we work with hundreds of DMOs on their websites. We have a custom CMS that connects with the CRM. And so in that capacity, we do a lot of work with analytics, Google Analytics, various other tools that might measure websites. Obviously, a lot of remarketing pixels and tracking pixels from places like Adara and so forth. We put those on our sites. So we're quite familiar with web data from that, as well as from our digital marketing services, which is the side of the house that both Austin and I come from. So lots of work in Google Analytics, Google Ads, Google Search Console, all those places. So with all, again, there's all this data that we at Simpleview work with for DMOs, and it made sense to use our product resources, which we obviously have a lot of since we are a software company at heart, to build a product that would really solve a lot of the data needs that people have. So what are those? The ones that we're trying to address here anyway are the issues of siloed data. I just mentioned a half dozen data sources that are often not connected to each other, can't speak to each other, but that need to, that we have insights that we're getting out of both, that are tracking different aspects of the same efforts or the same phenomena we might be seeing with visitation to our destination. And we need to get those out of the silos and put them together to get real insights, see how one might be driving another or responding to another or whatever else. Data is in the wrong shape. You know, we might have rows that we need to turn into columns, or columns that we need to turn into rows. We might need to aggregate it or do some other kind of calculation. You know, often I find that if anybody wants to see a data or a view of their data as percentages of a whole, like that's not actually simple necessarily always to do just the simple arithmetic to get it out when you're working with live data feeds that will change over time and everything. Unreliable calculations, I know.
I'm just going to interject really quick,
yeah,
too, because I think
please,
those first two are so they are so important, you know, and I think they kind of play together as well. And you know, as you mentioned, you know, we work with hundreds of DMOs, and we see all these different data sets, some coming from us as well, like let's say CRM. And I think these are some of the bigger problems that we want to be solving, right? Is, you know, data's in the wrong shape, they're in different sources, they're not talking to each other, or they can't talk to each other. And I think that's one of the bigger problems of like these two first points together is, you know, trying to figure out a way to, you know, resolve that for everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those are sort of the big ones I think people look at when they're thinking of a product like this. Dealt with that a lot. You know, I built sort of a pipeline like 10 years ago in Python that goes from Google Analytics into Microsoft Excel, which is a crazy thing to try to do, but that was the way we were doing our reporting. So it actually did work and was helpful. But yeah, just shaping the data coming out of Google Analytics and getting it in the right shape for Excel was one of the major problems I needed to solve in doing that. And trying to figure out a way to make it all automatic and as little manual work as possible. And part of the reason to avoid manual work is really the next bullet point, which is calculations. I know certainly in that manual reporting world, if you're transforming the numbers in any way and your process is not locked down super tight, you're going to have mistakes. You're going to have people just put the wrong number in the wrong place or whatever, completely innocently, and it's just going to generate problems. And then, you know, you're reporting it to somebody before you realize it, and then you're getting yelled at and you feel bad and it sucks. And then unreliable connections. Another thing I know I've definitely dealt with is, you know, a lot of this data, really in the modern world, hopefully all data is coming in through automatic online feeds, or at least databases that are online. And those don't always work all the time. People upgrade their APIs, people break their servers, all kinds of things can happen. And so keeping track of all that is a pain. And then lastly, we wanted to highlight insecure sharing, and not just sharing, but permissioning of who gets to look at what. One of the critical things for any report, any data, is that especially with sensitive business operations data, is we need to make sure that only the necessary and correct people can see it. So what are some requirements for a potential solution? And, you know, I want to stop real here and point out, like, you know, we aren't the only person with a data engine type solution in the industry, but we are trying to, do our take on doing it the very best and taking advantage of all the data that people have living with us anyway, to really unify everything and make this as powerful as it can be for any DMO. So anyway, requirements, things we need to be able to do to solve some of those problems. We need to be able to produce more insights with less effort. That's really the big thing at the end of the day that I think we're all trying to do, is just more efficiently turn all these numbers into actual knowledge that we have that we can use to drive decision making. Visualizations, dashboards, documents, namely, we need to be able to present the data in a number of different ways. We need to be able to get numbers. We need to have visual representations of it. We need to be able to have those in live dashboards, and we need to be able to print them out as reports. So those are things that DMOs want to do with their data all the time.
Yeah.
Blended data sets, we kind of mentioned that. Yeah, go ahead, Austin.
I was just going to say, you can't have number one, the more insights, without the visualizations in the first
Absolutely.
place. Right.
Well, maybe you can't. I like to look at numbers. No, just kidding. Anyway, blended data sets. It's absolutely critical that we be able to take data from one source and match it up, join it up with another, so that we can see where the trend, so that we can analyze trends going on in both of them at the same time. There are just numerous ways. We'll get into some of the ways we can do that later. UI-based data manipulation. Not everybody knows SQL. Not everybody wants to know SQL. Python is even a whole other matter if that's how you're trying to do your data analysis. And we just have tons of business users who are smart people who understand, quantitative analysis, but don't necessarily want to be bothered with the finer details of typing things out. Like I personally work in SQL all the time. I like typing out, figuring out how to write out a SQL statement that will do what I want. But it's finicky, and if you're not in that mindset, point and click is absolutely essential. So we want to make it so that anybody who's not into worrying about whether how exactly to do a case when statement, we need to help them out with being able to get deep into the data and find real insights.
Yeah, Paul,
we're obviously going to, yeah.
I think too, this is another one that we're going to touch on a few times. Like this is at the end of the day an advanced tool that's going to be bringing advanced insights, right, to its users. But it doesn't mean we have to make it complicated to use, and which is why this kind of like you said, that point and click is very important. This UI-based data manipulation, right? With a simple interface, you can still get like those advanced insights.
Absolutely. We're going to need to be able to filter and drill down to break down and get into the heart of our data. That's really the heart, the core action in any good analysis, is not just looking at your numbers, but figuring out what's driving the larger trends down at the lower levels. We need to have schedulable reports. Everybody wants to have reports go out to stakeholders without actually having to go in and click and move things around. Trust me. Frequent and flexible data updates. We need to have the data coming in on the right pace for that data source all the time. There's no reason we should have to be waiting all month for a lot of these insights. And then we need to make sure that, of course, it can be in the cloud, yet still GDPR and Safe Harbor compliant. It needs to not be getting you in trouble with any regulatory people about your the way your data handling practices. So the Simpleview data engine, we went through what are the problems we're trying to solve, some of the requirements we're going to need to get at them. Let's describe what this product actually is. And I'm excited about it. I've been working with different data tools throughout my work over the past few years as the director of analytics, and I've been excited to see what the product team can give us as far as an in-house tool that might be able to improve on some of the things out there that might cost a lot of money from some BI tools or just aren't available. So as we approach this beta, my team is getting ready to start really exploring the full functionality of this thing as it comes out, and start moving our work onto it. So anyway, we're going to have, and these are the things that excite me about it, unified platform to reduce redundancy. In particular, if you're in the Simpleview ecosystem, this will become the reporting engine for all of our products and services as it grows. And we have time to adopt it with everything. So one place, one system for getting in and joining, analyzing your data. Reduce time to create reports. We're making this fast. Particularly if you have reports with multiple data sources, this should save you tons of time. If you have much manual data entry, tons of time saved is the idea. There's really even things that even data sources that might be difficult, that might not even have an API or a connection to your BI tool of choice. We have tools that can get them out of a CSV that's emailed to us. We're looking at ways you can just drop CSVs into a Google Drive folder, even Excel files for some data sources. We will work with to get the data out and into the engine without you ever having to touch it. No code, custom reports. That's what we were referring to on the previous slide. You should be able to point and click you will be able to, you can currently point and click your way to a custom new report with a new design, out of the box. Direct connections to go ahead, Austin.
Yeah, just a quick note on that to expand. So ad hoc reporting is definitely one of the biggest powers of this tool, but it's also going to come with pre-built reports.
Oh, sure,
well,
yeah.
Right. So you're going to have your pre-built reports that are kind of, industry standard that, applies to everyone. But where the power really comes is this ad hoc reporting to where, whatever the unique situation of your DMO, you'll be able to kind of create reports with your own proprietary data and, get your own proprietary insights because of that.
Yeah. And it's absolutely, and I wouldn't quite say it's idiot proof. I don't know if you're a CEO who was in sales his whole career and doesn't know anything technical is going to be able to figure it out, but any business analyst user, I think, will find it pretty comfortable to work with.
And we'll get into that when we do the demo and stuff as well, but there will be, places for everyone, for the technical user and for someone who just wants those high level insights.
Absolutely. We'll also have direct connections to many, many data sources, including all the important ones for DMOs. We even have a connector built out to ingest your STR reports into your system, not being shared with anybody else. Pre-built data connectors. So yeah, not only do we have the connections, we will even be building out connectors that, if you think about an ELT or ETL process, the transform piece, we'll be building out the transform piece in a consistent, reliable way that works for this industry. Screen and print layouts for reports. So, being able to look at it on your screen or turn it into something that you can print out. Critical, I know, for many organizations. Expanded report delivery options, so we're going to be able to, or we can send this out via email. We can just look at it online. We can, like I said, export a PDF, all kinds of things. And then SaaS, lastly, it's going to be software as a service. It is software as a service. I say going to be because I'm looking forward to using it and I haven't gotten to as much yet, but it actually exists and we are using it now. Anyway, SaaS benefit.
It's going to get better.
Yeah, exactly. It is. That's the point of this line. We will always be making it better and you will get the latest features as we release them. It's not something that gets installed and then upgraded. It's something that you just log into and it's there for you with new features as they come out. So let's get into some of the core pillars of what this thing is. Part of it is that there's a data warehouse attached to it, and just to describe the difference, we're using data engine to refer to the whole thing, which includes this data warehouse, namely a big set of data that we put in the cloud storage system that allows all your tables to exist in one centralized place and speak to each other. But that's not the whole data engine. That's just the warehouse piece. The data engine includes also the reporting engine, visualization, delivery options. We'll get into all those in a bit. But focusing now for now on the warehouse part, which actually can function standalone for people who need that. But the idea is we have a single source of truth for all your critical data that goes into your KPIs. So we can be sure that we're reporting the correct numbers. And if we see a problem, we have somewhere to go back to solve it. Clear data definitions. Part of bringing data into a warehouse is making sure that it's defined what it means and how it's stored and how you should treat each of the tables. It's in the cloud and it's scalable. We don't have to worry about running out of hard drive space or upgrading to new boxes or anything like that. We're doing all of this on a modern cloud database infrastructure. It's flexible, meaning it can connect to almost anything. through our API connector tool, which, so I'll get into this I'll get a little bit more into that in just a second. In addition, with that, what this functionality allows you, where you have all your data centralized in one warehouse of tables that are on the same system, is you can blend them and transform that data in the cloud. You can just have SQL views or even scheduled queries that move the data around in the ways that you need automatically without ever having to touch it once you design the way it should work. And then as far as data sources, we're able to pull in numbers from all kinds of different places. This is just a brief list of some of the ones that we've connected to already. Social, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that sort of thing. Google Analytics, of course, universal, and especially GA4, which will shortly be supplanting it. CRM, critical one for our customers. It would be insane, of course, if we didn't have that one in there. Events data from which is also CRM. But also we will be able to pull in event feeds on holidays or even sort of anomalous events that come from elsewhere in your other things that affect your destination. Traveler data from location service companies such as Near. We're already working with that in the system. Spend data from credit card analysis companies, and much more. The way we're able to do all this, a lot of these data sources, we actually contract with Fivetran, if you've heard of them, as our sort of ETL tool, our actual ETL, ELT tool, however you prefer to think of it. And are using DBI in connection with that. If you're really DBT, sorry, I should say, I don't know what DBI is. DBT, if you're familiar with that, to do all the transformation layers. That's really powerful. We're able to hook up to accounts on hundreds of data sources within minutes. And even where that falls down and doesn't have anything, we have a data engineering team dedicated to this product, and Austin will whip them into making a proper connection for anything that would serve this industry well.
Well, that's definitely where the more comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, out the box, it's going to have all the big, connections out there. Like you said,
Yeah.
as from STR to Google Analytics to CRM, it's going to have these big ones already pre-built and they're ready to go. Just waiting for your own connection. But if you do have something that's a little more, unique to you and your destination, there is, a dedicated data engineering team that will help you get that in.
Sweet. All right. Granular access control. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. I want to drill down on this a little bit. At DMOs, this is a particular issue. We have people at all different levels in and out of the organization that might need to look at your data. You might have business analysts, you might have sales, just going through some of the roles that might need different levels of access to different data sources. You've got, your business analyst / research department. They probably need to see everything. You've got your sales managers who probably only need to look at the sales dashboards you have. You have executives who might have the right to look at all that stuff, but I think most research managers would rather they didn't, and so they need to be kept looking at the data that's at the right level for them, distilled down into insights already. Then you have people outside the organization, whether that's board members or just community stakeholders, business owners in town who care about what the DMO does, people at agencies who work with you to work on your stuff. All of these people, all of those roles might have, none of those two roles might share the exact same data needs, and it might actually be very important to not let some of them see your data, and particularly people outside of your organization. So one of the things we've really focused on here is making sure that the access control works. And we've had a lot of experience with our existing destination dashboards product, getting this all just right. So you're going to be able to manage all the permissions for all these roles in one place. The protection will apply at different levels. So you can change the sharing settings on a database or on a data model that turns that database into new numbers, or on a report that actually presents those numbers, or even just on the visualization where you're looking at one chart. Totally flexible across all those. We allow you to work according to the principle of least access, where people will have will not have access to things by default unless you explicitly give it to them. So that helps prevent leaks accidentally, and allows you to make sure that users see what they need to see and don't see what they shouldn't, is really what we're ultimately trying to do with all this.
Yeah, those last 3 points really kind of go together, I would say.
Mhm.
And it's just, if you are going to kind of aggregate and collect all your data in one place, we know security and access control is very important. So that is definitely a fleshed out system for the
Yeah.
product.
By the way, we had a question a few minutes ago from an anonymous attendee. Can you index to 2019? This system is totally flexible. You can index to whatever you want. It's, as we'll see, it's a fully flexible data analysis and reporting engine. So if you have a little bit of quantitative know-how, you can absolutely index to an average of the first quarter of 2019 if you wanted to. We can get into whether we all should still be indexing to 2019 in another discussion.
That's a different one, yeah.
Yeah. For sales, it probably does make sense. For web metrics, we surpassed 2019 over a year ago, so I wouldn't recommend it. But that's again a whole other discussion. But yeah, absolutely. Any sort of critical calculation like that, if you want to do year over year for 3 years ago to 2019, you can do that if you have the data. If you want to index, you can do that. If you want to index to a goal or just any made up number, you could do that too. It's really fully designed for all that kind of stuff. All right. So moving on. Was that it? Yeah, here we go. Use cases. Okay, so we've got 3 different use cases in mind. I'm going to describe them for you a little bit, and then again, we're going to jump in and show you how this might work for 1 or 2 of those right after that. So use cases, one is just revved up CRM reporting. So your data is already in Simpleview CRM. You're a happy user of that platform, and you're maybe a little tired of the back and forth ticket process that is sometimes required to get certain reports built in CRM by your CRM analyst. We're trying to solve that problem by putting the power in your hands, and obviously our analysts will have it too. So if you still want to rely on them, which you can, they'll have these tools to do better for you as well. But anyway, so this use case is your data is already in Simpleview CRM. You want direct analytic data access. You're tired of just looking at the aggregations and breakdowns that you get through reports. You want to be able to, get down to the record if you want. You have varied, unpredictable ad hoc reporting needs. This will be especially valuable if you are like that. If you just need the same thing over and over again, you can probably deal with going to the CRM team and, having a ticket that takes a couple days to get a new report put in. But if you're got new things coming up all the time, if you've got a boss who has new ideas for how to break things down, or is constantly wondering if this might be affecting that, and the only way you can talk him out of it is by showing him that he's wrong, you may find that having a tool on hand that allows you to do flexibly exactly what you need with your data, for instance, if you want to index it to 2019 or 2009 for that matter, this is going to help you out. And also, you might not know SQL or any other form of coding. This tool, I think, will pretty much satisfy all those needs, and can be useful just doing that. And then we haven't even gotten into all the features that we've been discussing so far. Another use case, just the data warehouse, the part where we store all the data in a cloud in a cloud database system, where any BI tool can talk to it. So this would be a good use case for you if you have great reports and dashboards already. You love your BI tool. It's, whatever it is, whether you're using Domo or Tableau or Power BI or whatever, even Looker Data Studio, which is honestly what I've been working on a lot in for the past few years. So you've already got reports built out there, and your team is trained and comfortable on how to use that BI tool. Obviously, there are quirks and special things about each and every one. So it's not always fun and easy to switch people over. You need, in this use case, though, you might need more data sources than you have already. Let's say you've got your processes for getting data into your BI tool now, but maybe it's onerous. Maybe you have some new things that you would like to connect to, but you don't really have the tools to do that easily. And you need to be able to combine all these data sources flexibly. That's really the use case where the warehouse only comes in. That's where you can use our system with the connectors that we have, again, built out for you to all these different data sources that DMOs want to speak to. Now you can pull all that into one place, one cloud database system, and then whatever your BI tool is, as long as it can talk to Amazon Web Services, you can then continue to use that with the Simpleview Data Engine's data warehouse. And you don't ever have to mess with our with our B tool if you don't like it and you like the one you have already. Of course, also one of the main data sources this might really get for you, of course, is CRM, which can be difficult to connect to as things are now in a BI tool. And then use cases. The last one, this is the full boat. Your data lives here now. You're just moving everything in your reporting and analytics stack to this platform. So it could be that you've got one already. You've got an analytics stack with, whatever database system you're using, whatever tool you're using, or you're starting fresh. But either way, you're looking at a clean break with the past on it. You need to work with data from CRM to GA4 to mobile location to advertising platforms to social to everything else we already mentioned, credit cards, STR. All those things. The more data sources you have, the more critical it is that you have a tool like this, the more benefit you'll get out of it. You don't want to build and maintain custom connections. I build and maintain custom connections often for a living, and it's a pain. If I want to get a new data source, I have to sit down in Python and figure it out. And, it would be much slower and less reliable than it is for me, except that I do it all the time and I have some extra tools to make it work. You have data engineering expertise on your team and you want to set it free. So, maybe even some of these people could build custom connections if you want, but who wants to do that when you could be doing all kinds of other stuff to join data together? Trust me, even once you have the data in a warehouse, I think anybody who has worked with it knows if you're trying to do custom unique insights, you're going to spend some time wrangling SQL, wrangling data, and that expertise. The less it can spend its time just carrying water from one place to another, and the more it can spend it, carving the ice sculpture, the better the happier you're going to be. And then you want to iterate from a foundation of industry standard metrics and breakdowns. That's the other thing is there's all kinds of stuff that is common across the thousands of DMOs in the world that they all face, that they all deal with from a data perspective. And the more that you can build from that, the faster you can reach accurate, actionable, powerful insights. And that's where we're working with us, I think, is going to really help some clients out, because we work with hundreds and hundreds of DMOs, particularly on the CRM side. And, we have our Future Pace product that's become an industry leader for analyzing your bookings of meetings in CRM and figuring out a good industry benchmark for those. So we've been working with the industry to figure out standard metrics and breakdowns for all these data sources for over a decade in most cases. We also have Shimo and the 2 Synergize team on our side to help us with this. And we want to extend the reach and the power of that information to all of our clients through this tool by building out these kinds of standard data models, metrics, and breakdowns for everybody to use.
Yeah,
So,
Paul, really quick, Paul, just
yes.
just a last note on that is this is obviously going to be like our recommended approach or use case, right?
Yeah.
But it goes without saying, we still wanted the product itself to be flexible. So the other use cases is that flexibility speaking there.
Mhm.
Like you said on the last one, if you are comfortable with your current BI tool, we want you to use that. But I will say, it's always nice to kind of again, use the entire ecosystem, to its max output. And, coming in and, using our BI tool is not going to be like a tough learning curve at the end of the day. If you're already familiar with your numbers, it's a pretty simple system to use. And, it's built directly with that data warehouse you're using. So it all kind of matches and goes together. And, this is where, like you said, there's that industry knowledge, and not just from Simpleview itself, but from all of our partners. And it's kind of all come together into like what the tool is, right, as a complete package. So we just kind of like a little just trying to get people to see that this is really like the ideal vision of what we want this product to be.
Absolutely. All right. So, Austin, why don't you go ahead and share your screen and get ready for our product demo.
Let's take a look.
While you do that, I'm going to answer one more question. We had somebody, another anonymous attendee. Do you have an API to connect Simpleview data from the warehouse to another supplier such as Rove, Symphony, Zartico? It's not, I wouldn't quite call it an API, but this tool, this product is the solution for that. With this, essentially, we will have part of this product is a strong, reliable set of data models that pull data out of CRM and put it into a cloud database for you. And obviously, once it's there, any BI tool can connect to. Again, it's AWS. It's one of the standard cloud systems out there. So this is the way. Part of the motivation for developing this was to give people that connection they're looking for to get their Simpleview CRM data out into whatever data tool they want to. So obviously we think that ours is very strong. We really like it, but we're really excited to be able to serve anybody's needs, like I said in those use cases earlier. So Austin, it looks like I'm still sharing.
Yep.
Oh, you can't just steal it from me?
Yeah, I have to. It's gotta like let me do it.
Okay.
Give me one quick sec.
There we go.
Good. You see
I'm seeing it.
reports home right here?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right. Well, here we are. This is kind of a fresh look at what we've been working on. This is just the homepage right now. But as you can see, it's just a really clean, simple layout. But I think, that's like kind of the beauty of it, right? We're not trying to make something complex. Just because something's powerful doesn't mean it needs to be, overly complex. So the first thing I kind of want to point out too, and this goes back to when we were talking about, different permissions and, organizing things to where certain people only see certain things, is we have this reports home and admin section, right? But then you have all these different folders here. And I think the folders are a great way to just, a starting point of, let's say, like you said, there's like an executive team who you don't really want them messing around with the full tool, or they don't really need to be, right? They're more focused on those high level insights. A great way, even if they do have access to the product, is just making a folder for them really quick and saying, hey, whenever you do want to check on these numbers, go into this folder. It's all for you. These are, reports that we've made that we've assigned to this folder. Go crazy with it. Or on the other end, right, where like you have an intern and you want them practicing on a couple things, but you definitely don't want to give them access to everything. Make a folder for them. Set your different permissions, and that's a way to really kind of like silo where your users are, what they're using and what they're, what they get to see. But with that quick spiel, we're going to be going right here. What we're really focusing on for this is just trying to show you an example of different ways where we can pull in data, this one specifically being like different sorts of data from CRM. And the power of this tool, when you take different data sources, different models, and put them together, what kind of insights you can have.
Yeah, and I think that's what people are going to see here. We've got some cool stuff that there are a couple key points I think being demonstrated here. One is well, really two or three. One is pulling in data from multiple sources, including one like STR that I think a lot of people have had pain about getting in. Two is then being able to flexibly manipulate that data in the way you need. And then three is a lot of what we're working on here, and we'll explain some of these metrics. They're based on the kind of models that we've been talking about that do advanced complex calculations to that will not just work for one client, but that we're building out to work across the industry to fulfill a need that essentially no one DMO can answer, because we're going to try to be leveraging the power of having lots of clients to make these models as powerful as possible. So Austin, why don't you go into a little bit what this report actually does?
Yeah, so this report is lead scoring. So long story short, it's taking leads in your CRM and giving them a score based on, the need, or like just like the overall like ranking of that lead, right? Is it a high priority lead, or is it maybe a lower priority? And there's different things behind the scene, like you just said, that are going on, a little bit of math, a little bit of logic going on, but more or less, just if we're going to break it out really quick before we dive in, you have an overall ranking, which is self-explanatory, right? Like, if you're at the top, that's like a higher priority
Yeah,
lead than
we've
something in the bottom.
we've ranked the leads and put them in order by that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just as a quick note, here's the lead IDs, just for kind of security's sake, and these are just the IDs and not the names of the lead. But of course, you could switch that out within
Yeah.
your own system to have the name of the lead to be a little more readable.
Yeah.
So we have the need ranking here, which is just a score that we give to a lead based on like the need of that lead. So imagine, right, you have a lead for some sort of conference and it's in the middle of summer, right, where it's like peak tourism time. You know, there's a ton of tourism coming, right? There's tons of people coming into your destination. You know, even though, let's say it's a huge lead, you know, it's a convention, 5 nights, whatever it is, right? You might not necessarily prioritize that lead as much because of, you know, you're prioritizing more in this season, you know, the tourism, the people coming in on, you know, on their kind of like leisure stay. Whereas let's say if it's a smaller lead, right, where it's just, you know, like let's say one night, the average peak rooms is pretty low, but it's on a day of the year where, you know, tourism is super low, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be ranked much higher just because, you know, the kind of need ratio, I guess you could say, right there.
Yeah, I want to dig into this a little bit. Like, this is something that we can only tell from right, you know, this is a fairly deep insight, you know, to be getting out of a report that is potentially automatically run and updated all the time. In particular, we rely here on the STR data that we have for this client, because that of course gives us information on which dates are low and which ones are high historically, and that differs across destinations. There's some of these factors for need ranking that I think will correlate pretty much strongly, certainly across all American destinations. Things like, you know, 4th of July holidays will have certain impacts everywhere. But there are also very idiosyncratic need patterns across different destinations. And so this is a really good example of where we can start with data from STR that tells us when people are actually in our hotel rooms and try to get an idea of what the need is on a particular date in a way that might not be obvious always otherwise.
Exactly. And I think that's the beauty of this, right? It's taking historical data, but it's also taking future data. Like if you have leads in the future and it's using that historical data to kind of rank these, right?
Absolutely.
And it's a great way to kind of predict, you know, which leads you should be pursuing and which ones are more important to your destination.
Yeah. So the need ranking is one part of the overall ranking. Describe the impact ranking for us a little bit, Austin.
Yeah. So the impact ranking is a little bit of math based on that need ranking, right? So let's say a need for one event is really high, but it's only a 1-day event, right?
Yeah, or it only has a small number of rooms.
Exactly. And then you're comparing it on the same date to a lead, let's say that's 2 nights, and even though the need is a little bit lower, it's, you know, 2 nights. So it kind of just does a little bit of math there of, you know, multiplying the need times the, you know, the number of nights times the peak rooms. You're just getting a number of, like, it's just a furthermore of a drill down of, you know, saying how important is this lead, right? So you have your need, your impact, and your average peak rooms. And it's a great way for you to just kind of, you know, like I said, filter through and kind of rank your leads by which ones, you know, are most important to your DMO. And there's different ways you can kind of filter this right now. So just to show you, again, we're in the edit screen right now. So just a quick rundown, you know, we have our model that we're grabbing. So this is where all the data is coming from. This is where we've joined all of our data. And, you know, right now we're trying to produce this visualization or this table.
Yeah.
And
at this point already, we need to be clear. I mentioned the need ranking is built on star data. The lead ID obviously comes out of CRM. So this model is already joining together multiple data sources that normally wouldn't be easy to put next to each other.
Exactly. This is more or less kind of like a new insight that, you know, we're coming up with.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, for this one, I think, let's see. So you can set filters for time. You know, this one, I set it between, you know, from 2018 to 2024 is kind of this timeline for this, right? So you have control over every aspect of this report or of this visualization. And I think the beauty of it too is there's kind of these on the fly edits you can do if you need even further insight, right? So overall, this as a table is like excellent, you know, insight. There's lots of ways where this could help you as a destination. But let's say your focus is on something different, right? Let's say internally, you guys have been, you know, I don't want to say pressured, but let's say your focus is like sports, leads, right? And you really want to boost that in your area. There's ways where on the fly you can take, a visualization like this and edit it, pivot it to show like the different categories of leads.
Yeah.
So here, let's try and do that now live. So we have different dimensions you can use to either add to the table or pivot the data. Here I'm going to click on lead type, and I'm just going to add it as a pivot dimension. And then all I'm going to do is kind of run this one more time. So we're going to wait 1 sec.
Boom.
And then here you can see now we have that same exact table we were looking at earlier, but now it's kind of pivoted by the different lead types, catering, group, meeting. And, I said in this example, we're focused on sports, right? So all I have to do is go to this column, look down, and now I can start to pick apart my leads that are related to sports and prioritize them, right? So this right here would be kind of like my overall ranking, my highest impact lead for sports, specifically.
Yeah. And if you wanted, you could even obviously take out the 4 columns on the left that are, or even the 5 that are specific to each lead, and then you could be aggregating this pivot and get an idea of the total sporting events. You could even have it by month or date on the left. All kinds of cool stuff we could do.
Exactly. There are a lot of ways to clean it up too, but just to show you kind of like on the fly, this is some of the power where connecting to these 2 data sources, or more than 2 maybe, you can bring it together and kind of customize. Like I said, this is a very specific example to sports, but that's kind of the thing with DMOs is each one has their specific scenarios, what they're trying to boost, and there's ways where you could go in and use this product to kind of find that information.
Yep.
And let's say you kind of got this and you're happy with it, you could save it, and this is kind of like your new visualization. And this is kind of the real specific nitty gritty of it. But I think the end goal a lot of times too is then building out reports. And we don't have time today to kind of go through and build a report, but I wanted to show everyone just a quick example of different types of tables and graphs we have, and how the clean, simple layout we have for reports. So let's get away from this. And again, I'm not going to kind of describe the data in this a lot. This is again a mix of this is more of that visitation, that near data, right? And again, these are all just kind of whatever numbers from this time range. But you can see that when you have this document that you're building, or this report, there's many ways to present this data, right? You can have cards, line graphs, whatever. And this is just kind of again, it's a print friendly. You can schedule this to be emailed to your CEO or whoever. There's lots of flexibility with all the different things you can do, but just a quick kind of sneak peek, I guess, at the end result of what you would be looking for when you're going for these insights.
Very cool. Let's see. Is this product to go along with destination dashboards or to replace it? That's a great question. So you may be familiar. We have several dozen clients on our existing destination dashboards system, which is sort of a little bit of a bare bones online dashboarding system that works really well with CRM. Is this replacing it, or is it going along with it? The long-term vision is that I think this is the upgraded replacement for that. It's totally different on the back end. It is not in any sense from a coding or software perspective a continuation of that, but conceptually, yeah, there's some relation between them for sure. Let me share my screen here. So great question. Long-term, yeah. In the short term, destination dashboards is not going away. If you're happy with your destination dashboards implementation, you will continue to have it for quite a while to come. I actually oversee the operational team on that, and it's actually the same product team building each thing as well. So there's plenty of synergy between the teams. We are not forcing anybody to move on, like I said, but we are also looking for beta applicants. So we do think that Destination Dashboard's current customers who are interested in upgrading to a more powerful tool we will be offering opportunities to apply for the beta as we go forward with that. And
And
I think we can actually turn that over to Austin to talk about the beta application process in a
yeah,
second here.
and a quick note on that question as well. We're happy to work with dashboard clients on like a migration plan. But
Mhm.
again, it's not going to be like we're not killing one product for another, right? If you're happy with dashboards, we are also happy to just connect you to, let's say, the data warehouse side of our product, and then using dashboards still as kind of that, like the
Mhm.
visualization side.
Yeah.
Or there's lots of mixing and matching we can do. You saw me at the end. I showed a document, right? But let's say before that, I was working just on that one specific visualization. There could be ways in the future to implement that one visualization you made, let's say, into your dashboard product, or something along the lines. We're not killing one for another. We're really trying to have this whole ecosystem work together.
Absolutely. I had something else I was going to say on that and it's gone. Anyway, no, we do want to make sure it works properly for anybody. We're not in any urgency to get rid of dashboards if you like it, nor are we going to try to force you to stay on it if you don't. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, Austin mentioned it can serve as the backend for dashboards. It can. We're actually behind the scenes making use of some of the tools within the data engine to allow dashboards to do GA4 reporting for our current customers, who many of whom are just now getting on the switch over to GA4. So anyway, real quick, some feature highlights. Like, I'm going to blast through these because we only got a few minutes left, and then I'm going to let Austin give you information on how to apply for the beta if you're interested. So just to reiterate some of these things, we've talked about them already today, but again, we're looking at a platform, the Simpleview data engine, that gives you unified data insights in one place from all of your Simpleview products, as well as many other data sources. Pre-built and ad hoc reporting. So, pre-built reports that are like, industry standard and should work for any DMO or whatever you want to do at any time. You can do it. Access to fresh CRM data, obviously a big need for a lot of people. And again, you can get that CRM data into any BI tool you want, not just this one. Clone and customize standard reports quickly, robust data filtering, drill down fields for data exploration. I think this is really cool. Really, well, most tools let you do this, but we've got some really cool ways to do it. Data buckets to roll up multiple values, like if you need to bucket all your session lengths into buckets of them, or you need to bucket your cities into states or so forth. We have all the tools you need for that. Data merging on the fly, so the ability just to any two data sources that you've already gotten into the warehouse, which honestly can take as little as 5 minutes of active work, and then waiting a few hours for Fivetran to do a run. You can have a whole new data source in your system. Yeah, you can, once you have it, you can merge it with other sources on the fly. Code-free report writing, click and run scorecards, graphs, and charts. You saw Austin make a change to his table and then click and run it. Print-friendly dashboards and documents. We saw the document builder view. Absolutely critical for many people to be able to print these out. Flexible breakdowns. I really love this. We have ways you can switch which dimension you're breaking your table or visualization down on the fly as a user. And then we have, there was some other feature to this as well. Being able to click in and break down as you're from higher up, all critical. Flexible access through group permissioning, data blending, and robust ETL, ELT process, not just getting the data from one place to another, but shaping it the way it needs to be reliably every time. And then PDF, JSON, and CSV exports, and then we can share visualizations and dashboards however we need to. It's just a reminder, this is a SaaS product, so we have many features planned for the future. Just looking through some of them, there's going to be a process of cloud-based continuous development. We're going to have an ever-expanding list of pre-built reports, ever-expanding list of visualization options. We're working on them with the product team right now. Expanding list of data connectors with, as more data sources come around. One of the big advantages of working with Fivetran in this tool is that they build a lot of them for us, but we also have our own team to do custom ones. Drag and drop document builder, easy KPI-oriented reporting, competitive benchmarking, and an extranet integration. We're really looking forward to that in the future when needed. So, Austin, we have 3 minutes left. Tell people how they can sign up to apply for the beta.
Awesome. Good job getting through all those bullets. Okay, cool. Well, Yeah, so again, like I said in the beginning, my name's Austin Strobel, and I will be spearheading the beta program. If this is something you're interested in participating in, now is a great time to kind of reach out and let us know of your interest. A lot of those points that Ben just went over, or excuse me, that Paul just went over, where let's say something like expanding pre-built reports, right? If you want a say, if you want to have some sort of impact on, what reports are going to be available right out the bat, right? What is going to help, just the industry overall, the beta is like a great time for you to get involved in. And realistically, it's just a great time to, to start feeling out a product that will have some sort of impact on the industry. So if you could, if you are interested, please just send me an email. My email's right there on screen, and we'll leave it up for a bit longer. But just reach out to me, introduce yourself. Let me know obviously what destination or DMO you're currently with. And I think we're starting this beta process pretty soon. So it could be as soon as next week that you hear from me. Maybe just a brief survey to get to know you a little bit better. But we're looking to get this beta process underway, possibly by, sometime in December. So I know that's a quick timeline, but, it's something that would be awesome to see some interest in. And we would love to work with, multiple types of DMOs. So whether you're big or small, feel free to reach out, and, we'll see if we can get something going.
And that made me think of one other thing that I think is important that we didn't touch on, which is support. So there will be an operational team. There is an operational team. I manage it at Simpleview to help people get the most out of this. Linda on my team, if you work with destination dashboards, she is amazing at working with you, interviewing you about your data needs, and then translating all of that into high quality metrics and reports. So she and the other people on my team are going to be the support system for this, and we're going to make sure that we have the expertise needed to allow a customer at any level to take advantage of all this stuff. That said, I think in the beta, as we're really working on building out all these new data models and reports that should serve lots of people, hands-on type of applicants will, I think, get the most out of this beta at this stage. If you're the kind of customer if you're the kind of DMO or analyst who is excited about doing your own thing, getting a powerful tool, and learning how to really wring the most out of it, I think this is going to be a really exciting time for you to be working with this product.
That's a great point. Again, like the point of this product is to empower the user, right? So if you're looking for a tool to do that for you, then please reach out.
Absolutely. All right. That's all we got. Thank you, TTRA, for letting us show this thing off. Thank you, everybody who watched and listened. And Kathy, I don't know if you're going to sign us out.
Yep, I am. I'm here. Paul and Austin, thank you so much for the webinar. We really appreciate it. And when we send out the information, Austin will make sure we put your email address in there, and Paul, yours as well, in case anybody has any questions.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
So long.
Bye.